That is such a lovely introduction, Antoinette. Thank you so much. Good day to everyone. I'm Pasita Chitwan, and it's an honor to moderate this discussion regarding the food that we eat and the labor that goes behind it. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes in the food supply chain, from processing, packaging, storing, to distribution and consumption. It is also unfortunate that, yes, the food supply chain involves worrying amounts of loss and wastage. Almost half of all root crops, vegetables, and fruits across the globe turn to waste. Food loss and waste, or FLW, is an important subject matter due to its moral issue. Almost 12% of the population in the world is suffering from hunger. Despite this recognition and the efforts performed to minimize FLW, it continues to be excessively high. Hence, what steps can we take to make our food supply chain become more sustainable? This will be what our panelists will brainstorm and discuss today. We will begin our discussion with Mr. Eric Kawabata. Eric has worked in sustainability for 12 years, starting as a volunteer in 2008 with Carbon Free Consulting in Japan. He co-founded a nonprofit project, Ocean Green Association, in 2009 to study means to lower coastal water temperatures after seeing the impact on coastal ecology and bleaching of coral reefs in Japan. Starting work with TerraCycle in 2013, he officially launched the company in Asia, starting in Japan in January 2014, and subsequently became Asia Pacific Regional Manager in 2016, opening TerraCycle in China in the fall of 2016 and TerraCycle Korea in the fall of 2017, working with sponsors such as Procter& Gamble, L'Oreal, Cow, and Lion. Prior to his work in sustainability, he was an international research student in law at the University of Tokyo Graduate Schools for Law and Politics, worked as legal counsel for Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank, and served as an executive in the investment banking industry, leading privatization and corporate finance teams. Let us all welcome Mr. Eric Kawabata.
Hello, my name is Eric Kawabata. I'm the Asia Pacific General Manager for a social enterprise called TerraCycle and Loop. We're on a mission to eliminate the idea of waste by making things recyclable that are non-recyclable, to make more things recycled materials, and to make things reusable. We have awards from the United Nations. We're also an official initiative of the World Economic Forum. We work with over 600 brand companies around the world. And we operate these programs in 21 countries in Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and we started a nonprofit organization in Thailand to collect and clean up river waste. Our primary platform of collection and recycling is focused on building a value chain for waste. So it costs money to collect and recycle, but if you can make an output to monetize that material, you can make this work. For example, taking used L'Occitane packaging, recycling them, and making eco bags, which you can then sell at the L'Occitane store to create a profit to pay for the recycling. Another example is ocean plastic cleanup, which we do around the world. We work with NPOs and NGOs and government to clean up ocean plastic from beaches. We recycle it, and then we sell that raw material to companies like Procter & Gamble who use that to make new packaging. This helps to drive the value chain and covers the cost of recycling. This is our primary platform, which is collection and recycling. We have another platform which aims at eliminating the idea of waste through reuse. So as you know, single-use plastic is a big problem. It's causing much pollution, ocean plastic around the world. Well, one idea is to eliminate single-use plastic by replacing it with the reusable containers instead. This is an idea to make a global platform to make reuse easy, convenient, affordable to be able to buy and return anywhere is the goal. To achieve this could be very expensive. To create economic efficiency, we've created a global ecosystem to share infrastructure with operational partners, with CPG companies, with QSR, with retailers, and with many organizations like WWF and Greenpeace. We operate this platform in 5 countries right now, including Japan. We'll be coming later to Australia and New Zealand this year, and hopefully soon to other parts of Asia. The system is very simple. It borrows wisdom from the past, like the milkman model, where the milk bottle was the property of the milk company. They would deliver the milk to you, you would consume the milk, return the empty bottle, which would be washed, filled, and sold again. And the more times you cycle that asset of the company, right, the lower cost per sale. So it's economically efficient and it was very environmentally friendly. There's a big shift to disposability. And why is that? Well, because disposable packaging, it's cheap and it's convenient. And so reuse went away. And there was a big paradigm shift where the package was no longer owned by the manufacturer, but by the consumer. And so packaging became cheaper and lighter and less recyclable. So to bring reuse back, we have to solve the economic issue. Well, yes, maybe it's true. A paper package would only cost 10 cents, whereas a reusable package may cost $3 in this beautiful stainless steel container as an example. Well, it's expensive, but if you were to use it 100 times, your amortized cost per use would go down to 1/100th. Basically, the message is that if you can scale reuse in many cycles, you can bring down the cost of reuse to compete with disposable packaging as well. And you can use the money that you can spend because you reuse to make more beautiful and functional designs. And we do this. We help companies move from disposable packaging to beautiful custom reusable packaging, stock containers that can be shared among companies. And we find that many companies are already selling in glass and other durable bottle materials, which can actually be reused now. It's just not being reused. The system of distribution is really easy. You just sell it through the normal distributor and you put it into the hands of the consumer through the retailer. So from the brand at the top to the retailer, to the consumer who buys it, returns the empty container back to the retailer for deposit, Loop collects it, washes it, sends it back to the brand for refilling, and around we go without creating garbage. And this is available at many retailers, in the United States, in Canada, in France, the UK, and Japan, and again, coming soon to other parts of Asia. And this is how it looks. Within the store, you have a beautiful area with Loop products you can buy, with a collection box you can return. And the idea is to make reuse feel like disposability by making access at retailers, municipal locations, commercial spaces, so you can buy and return in a very easy manner. And that's the idea behind this, to make sustainability fun, accessible, and not so expensive, so people will use it and help us reduce waste. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kawabata. Up next, we have Ms. Lailani Ramona Katimbang-Limpin, earned both of her bachelor's and master's degrees in agriculture from the University of the Philippines in Los Baños. She has had extensive experience in organic farming and sustainable agriculture since 1990. She has designed and implemented agricultural and community research projects, particularly on corn production in Bohol and Sultan Kudarat, integrated and diversified farming system in Davao del Norte, alternative marketing for organic rice in Iloilo and Davao del Norte, potentials of system of rice intensification or SRI in the Philippines, and analyzing gender in Masipag rice technology. Now, a CEO of the Organic Certification Center of the Philippines, Inspection and Certification Services, Inc., she is responsible for leading the development and execution of long-term strategies of the company with a goal of increasing market value. Let us all welcome Lailani Limpin.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll be talking about sustainable food. we will be dealing more on how do we really check on the food that we eat, because it's really very important for us to understand that our health state and the health of the environment is very much connected on the food that we eat and where it comes from. So most of the time when we do presentation, always ask them that, do you know where your food are coming from? Most of us actually just select food based on the appearance. If it's smooth, it doesn't have any damages, or what is appealing to the eye. But we never have had any second thought on how was the food really produced. So for organic advocates or in the organic sector, we always say that healthy, sustainable food can only come from healthy, sustainable agriculture. And for agriculture to be sustainable, we should always make sure that we do not put anything on our lands that will make it toxic or have an effect on the natural ecosystem, so that the food that we will eat will be safer for us. So we always say also that you are what you eat. So make sure that you have make the healthy choices. So in organic agriculture, IFOAM, or the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, has defined organic agriculture as an agricultural production system that promotes environmentally, socially, and economically sound production of food and fibers, and excludes the use of synthetically compounded fertilizers, pesticides, growth regulators, livestock feed additives, and GMOs. So, in adopting organic agriculture, in embracing it, in promoting it in the Philippines, we're really very lucky that our legislators have also understood the importance of producing um, a sustainable way or an alternative way of producing food, or giving us an option. Our legislator has provided us RA 10068 of 2010. This has been our guide since then on how we will produce organic food, how we certify organic foods, how do we know that it's an organic food, and how do we help farmers that they will be guided on how they can transform their conventionally produced farm into an organically produced farm. Now, in last 2 years ago, the 2010 RA has been amended, and now it is RA 11511. Currently, the new RA, it's 11511, doesn't have the IRR at the moment, but as from last communication with the Department of Agriculture, this is about to be approved. So the total agricultural land or the total land devoted for organic in 2015, based on the feeble research, is that it is 234 hectares. It's really quite small. But this has been increasing through time. So also part of the law is to push our agricultural lands to target at least 10% to be devoted in organic agriculture. To do that, we need the organic standards to be formulated, so that everybody who would like to be involved into organic agriculture or would like to be part of the organic sector can be guided. There's also an accreditation of certifying bodies. So the certifying bodies are the ones who verify or check the production systems of the farms, or even the livestock management, if they conform with the organic standards. And then once you are found to have conformed with the standards, then you can actually label your product as organic. So to claim that the product is organic, there's a certification process that all certifying bodies follow. What I'm presenting to you right now is the process that OCCP is doing, and this is a color-coded process. No? The blue one is for the client or the operator, The brown one is where OCCP's role come in. And then also for the green one, this is where our auditors or our inspectors do. So everything starts with an inquiry. They would really, most often the operators would ask us how they can actually apply for certification. But for us, when we give them the information, we have this checklist, and it depends on the scope that they are applying. For example, if it's a farm, then we'll give them a briefer, so they will be properly guided. They will be properly guided on what we really check when we go out in the field. So if they found out that based on our checklist, it's a self-assessment checklist actually, that they are compliant, then they can proceed with the application. And then if there are, for example, gaps, then they can go back to the requirements in our briefers so that they can actually make the proper adjustments before we proceed to the actual inspection. So when everything is into place and that they're ready to be checked by us, and then an inspector will go there and verify if the information that were declared are true and correct. And then after that, the inspection report will be given to our evaluator for the final decision. Once approved, they will be given the certificate. And then we will also be giving them the OCCP's logo or mark, and also the organic mark of the Department of Agriculture. These are two marks that are required when you that are required to be placed on the label for proper monitoring. So with that, I would like to introduce to you, I am Lailani Ramona, the CEO of OCCP Inspection and Certification Services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Leilani. Continuing our discussion is Engineer Gilda Garibay, Project Leader of the Global Partnership for Improving the Food Cold Chain in the Philippines project. This project is funded by the Global Environment Facility, or GEF, and is implemented by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, in the Philippines. Engineer Gilda Garibay has a master's degree in environmental technology and engineering from 3 distinguished universities in Europe: Ghent University, Institute of Chemical Technology, and UNESCO Institute for Higher Education, and a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. She has more than 15 years professional experience in projects on environmental engineering, climate resilience, and green growth, covering project design and implementation. She also has extensive experience in designing, leading, and managing projects focusing on policy formulation, institutional and capacity development, and technology transfer. Essential to her capacity is her operational familiarity with environmental laws and policies and their applications. She is also skilled in climate risk and adaptation assessment and in providing on-site coaching to local government units in the preparation of comprehensive land use plans and local climate change action plans. Let us all welcome Engineer Gilda Garibay.
Good day. I am Gilda Garibay, the project leader of the Global Partnership for Improving the Food Cold Chain in the Philippines project. Today, I will be sharing with you how can we pursue inclusive green growth through climate-friendly cold chains in the Philippines. Cold chain refers to the food supply logistics chain that uses refrigeration technology to continuously maintain a suitable temperature and humidity environment for perishable products such as fruits, vegetables, dairy, meats, and fish. Cold chain prevents spoilage and food losses. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, or PAO, 90% of the food loss and waste in Asia occur in processing and distribution phase. It is worth to note, though, that cold chain system and technologies are also a substantial and growing contributor to climate change due to the use of HFC and high energy consumption. With that, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, is supporting the improvement of the cold chain sector in the country through the project Global Partnership for Improving the Food Cold Chain in the Philippines. This is funded by the Global Environment Facility, or the GEP, and the government partners in the Philippines are DNR and TESDA. The goal of the project is to identify, develop, and stimulate the development of low-carbon, energy-efficient refrigeration innovation technologies and business practices in the Philippines for use throughout the food cold chains whilst increasing food safety and security. The project has three components. Component one is the policy and regulatory assessment on the use of low carbon and energy efficient technology within the food cold chain. The project is collaborating with the Philippine Standard, or BPS, on updating the PNS IEC 60335-2-89, or the city standard for the commercial refrigeration policies. We are also working with the Energy Utilization Management Bureau of the DOE on the development of the minimum energy performance for products for commercial refrigeration and minimum energy performance standard MEPS for the cold chain sector. And lastly, we are assisting the Board of Investment, or BOI, and the National Cold Chain Committee on the development of cold chain integrated supply solution for evidence-based policymaking and investment programming. And what it is a database that will map out existing cold chain services providers, estimate and forecast supply and demand for cold chain services, and generate data on the current and future cold chain service gap for agriculture and fishery producers, retailers, and users, logistic and delivery service provider as basis for policy formulation and investment promotion. For component two is the awareness and the capacity building on the use of energy efficient, climate friendly, and safe alternatives in the food cold chain. We are developing a methodology to monitor and analyze the efficiency and carbon impact of each part of the cold chain and recommendation to optimize system operation. Our IEC activities for key stakeholders are being done virtually because of the COVID restriction, while our in-depth personal training and education of local engineer and technician will be done soon. Actually, we already have one this March. And our last component is the technology transfer and the project to finance matchmaking. The Cold Chain Innovation Hub, or the CCI Hub, as ecosystem for technical resources, research, knowledge sharing, and stakeholder collaboration are now being established in TESDA. We are in partnership with the international technology providers to donate equipment in TESDA for the technology showcase and training of local engineers and technicians. We also have a demo project in which new technologies will be granted to local users. And lastly, project to finance matching will be facilitated to ensure that funding will be available for the use of green technologies. So thank you for listening. For more information about our project, please visit our website at ccihub.org. And again, thank you and good day to all.
Thank you, Engineer Garibay. Wrapping up our discussion for this panel is Mr. Stephen Michael Ko. Stephen Ko is the founder and CEO of Worth the Health Foods, WTH Foods. It's a plant-based alternative protein startup in the Philippines. They make plant-based versions of Filipino pantry favorites such as corned beef, ground meat, sausages, using local and sustainable ingredients. He obtained his bachelor's degree in biology from Ateneo de Manila University and master's in technology management from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. He was a consultant at Hybridim Consulting, the Philippines' first biotech consulting firm, and was a part-time faculty at Ateneo de Manila University, teaching Bioscience Enterprise, a course that brings together concepts in business and biotechnology. Before WTH Foods, Stephen founded Nipa Brew Craft Beverages. It operates a microbrewery and tap room in Makati, Philippines. Philippines. In 2012, Stephen was awarded the UK Chevening Scholarship to study Masters in Bioscience Enterprise at the University of Cambridge. In 2018, Stephen participated in the Professional Fellows Program sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. He was a visiting fellow at Rutgers Food Innovation Center in New Jersey, where he gained experience in food innovation and commercialization. In 2021, he completed the Plant-Based Nutrition Certificate Program from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies at Cornell. His passions are in entrepreneurship and food innovation. In the near future, he plans to put up a food innovation center to work on global food security issues. He loves trying out local food and drinks, preferably the alcoholic ones.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Steven, and I'm the founder and CEO of Worth the Health Foods. We are a plant-based alternative protein startup based in the Philippines. So why alternative proteins? When we talk about the future of food, this is the often asked question: how do we feed 10 billion people by 2050? Well, the population will grow by 35% from the current 7 billion. Experts predict that our meat consumption will rise to 70%. And that means that we need to double crop production to feed the livestock, to produce the proteins to feed the 10 billion people. It doesn't make sense to kill 1.6 billion heads of cattle, 1.5 billion heads of swine, 40 billion heads of chicken or fowl, and 220 billion kilograms of seafoods every year just to feed 10 billion people on the planet. In the Philippines, it's the same thing. Well, we will increase in population to 145 million Filipinos. These are the millions of animals that has to be killed every year to feed the growing Filipino population. And why is this important in the Philippines? Because the Philippines is the 20th largest food market in the world. In 2019, we consumed $81 billion worth of food, $7 billion of which is meat. And in the middle of the pandemic, because of the African swine fever, pork prices rose to eye-watering 450 pesos per kilo. There is nothing sustainable in that. But more than the environment and animal welfare, we talk about health when it comes to plant-based alternative proteins. Here are the top 10 leading causes of death in the world: heart diseases, cancers, lower respiratory diseases, etc. And 6 out of 10 could actually be linked to nutrition. It's the same thing here in Southeast Asia and the Philippines. The top 2 killers are cancers and heart diseases, and many of which are nutrition related. So how do we solve this? Our team at Worth the Health Foods believe that nature offers solutions to address these problems. Our team explores the taste, functional, textural, and nutritional properties of local and sustainable ingredients, such as microalgae, mung beans, jackfruits, and carrageenan or seaweeds, and turn them into plant-based versions of the processed meat products that Southeast Asians love. Our first products are geared for the Filipino palate. So we have mung bean-based ground meat or giniling, jackfruit-based shredded meat, corned beef, and nuggets. And we also recently produced a soy-based sausage. So should I dare say that plant-based is the future of food, and that the most sustainable diets are also the healthiest? That's the short introduction to what we do at Worth the Health, and happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for that wonderful sharing. And now I know that we're going to have a lot of questions from the audience. But while we're waiting for that, I think what we can do is first have a round of, so with the pandemic, what are we going to do to address our food problems given your different areas of expertise? So of course, I'll start with Stephen, who's offering us an alternative. How do you see the future with plant-based alternatives?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Ms. Chit. Well, the short answer would be, as we know, that the pandemic might have likely been started by animals. It could be a zoonotic disease where the virus came from animals. And so we really advocate for a shift towards a more plant-based diet to try to eliminate animals from diet. And it's going to be a big shift, but I think the pandemic accelerated that shift in many countries, and I hope it sustains and continues to grow. So yeah, for us, we believe that the plant-based is the future for personal health, for the environment, and for animal welfare. And the pandemic just continued to prove it.
Okay. And I'm sure that a lot of people are now looking at Meatless Mondays. And right now that it's Lent in a country that's predominantly Catholic, there are Meatless Fridays. So maybe it's good for your business, Stephen, that 2 out of the 7 days are already considered meatless, at least during this season.
Yeah, that's
so
a good.
we wish you luck in that. Okay, I have some questions for Mr. Koki. Everyone's excited. When will Loop be available in the Philippines, Mr. Koki?
Thank you very much, Ms. Chet. So as Eric said earlier, we are planning to expand the Loop in Australia and New Zealand sometime this year. And for the TerraCycle, we have a business in China and Korea at the moment. So as well now, we believe that the next Asia market will be China or Korea. So hopefully after the China and Korea expansion, hopefully we can expand the program to Southeast Asia. And we are trying to expand the TerraCycle side of business in the Philippines as well. So to answer the question, sorry, we don't really have the concrete target dates yet, but hopefully soon, yeah.
Yes, the start is always the difficult stage, but I'm sure that Loop will definitely be something that will be considered by the fast-moving consumer goods sector. And we hope that all these sachets will be replaced by a material that you were saying in our discussion could be the alternative, right? So your two suggestions is monomaterial. Was that what you said, Mr. Koki?
Yes, thank you. So talking about the recycling perspective, the monomaterial can be very easy for recycling company to recycle the packages. But talking about the Loop side, it is a completely new platform that we're trying to open the platform to reusable packages. So for the Loop side, we accept some plastic packages, like a rigid hard plastic, and of course the glasses and stainless steel bottles. So in order to get the nice solid packages, which can be used for like at least more than 10 times, hopefully 100 times, as Eric said, we can reduce the packages waste, and not only in Japan, but also hopefully we can expand in Southeast Asia as well, especially in the Philippines, yes.
Okay, we do hope you can replace all the plastic that is being used by online retailers, because that's just so much plastic. And even if you say that plastic is not all that bad, it must be a mono material to be recycled. Is that right?
Indeed. It's
Thank you.
Much easier. Yeah.
At least that is a takeaway from this session. Now we have a question here for Miss Limpin, and it says, Are there any plans to impose compulsory to the public? Wait, you have so many questions, Ms. Limpin. What is the stand of OCCP that there are genetically modified organisms, crops, or GMO, that can be grown with less water, less energy, and pesticides? How does it fit into the sustainability sector? What is your stand on GMOs?
Thank you, Ms. Chit, and everyone who gave the question. First of all, we have to think, what do we mean by sustainability? So it starts first at the seed. So if the seed that you are producing is GMO or genetically modified, we cannot say that it can be part of a sustainability program, because the common farmers cannot produce GMO seeds. They still have to buy it. It's not a question of how you're going to manage it to grow the crop and then harvest it using lesser pesticides or lesser water. Not really sure if it's lesser energy to produce genetically modified seeds. No, so it's really, for us, it's not going to fit in for the sustainability program.
Okay, so we prefer growing them from open pollinated varieties, not the GMOs, because the open pollinated varieties truly will be the natural way of reproducing this food that we eat.
Okay, open pollinated varieties, yes, but we also can do or receive hybrid seeds, because hybridization is a normal process. Of course, also common farmers can do hybridization. Like for the masipag farmers, they breed their own rice seeds. That's why there are lots of different varieties of seeds now in the market, and different colors and variations, can be glutinous or not only for rice, but also for other products.
So I think we need to educate the public more about choices. If this was grown from GMO or if this was grown from hybrid, heirloom, and open pollinated varieties. So we must really trace where our food comes from, correct? That's what you said.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Chi.
Thank you. And for Engineer Gilda, our audience is very active. How far is the reach of this project in the Philippines in terms of assisting your stakeholders? How do you support areas without the appropriate facilities?
That's a good question. Actually, our project is supporting the whole Philippines. As I've mentioned in my presentation a while ago, for the component one, for our policy component, we are supporting the Bureau of Investments in terms of coming up with a database. What is this database? This database will conduct a nationwide survey to areas where there's a surplus of supply for the agricultural products, but no enough cold chain facility. So we are looking to that so that we will know which investors to call, that, hey, this place needs new cold storages, so things like that. So we have people all over the Philippines looking into that. And then secondly,
so you have the database.
We are on the process of doing that.
Okay, and part of the project of UNIDO is to have that database so that we know and you can match where farmers can take their produce to reduce food waste, which I believe is 50%. 50%.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
So we, even with that investment, we expect that food waste, which is now at 50%, could be greatly reduced. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. So that's one of the things that we're looking into. Where there's demand? We have, of course, we have already some cold storages in the country, but actually, based on the study, that is not enough to supply the needs of the agricultural products in the Philippines. So we have lots of potential export and import potential, but we have inadequate number of cold storages facilities. And then secondly,
so that's an investment idea that we can give our audience who would like to get into cold storage facilities, reefer vans, and other parts of the cold chain, if you will.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes. And then the second component is that the capacity development, we are training the technicians all over the Philippines. TESDA is calling all their technicians from all parts of the Philippines to go to TESDA to be trained in these new technologies so that they'll go back in their regions, in their provinces to train these new people, new pool of technicians so that the industry can grow.
But it could be the cart before the horse, or because you're already training them, but are we already going to be able to afford this new technology you're saying that's more eco-friendly, that is not going to use freon, that doesn't cost, it's a bit political, but I know that this is something that must be put to the forefront so that policies can also be made so that we can have a more eco-friendly cold chain.
Actually, we are simultaneously doing that training and then introducing new technologies. So for the third component, the technology transfer, we are giving out grant new technologies to these users. These technologies can be given to all the interested proponents all over the Philippines. So yes, we are far-reaching Luzon, Mindanao, and NCR for this project. Anyway, all this will be announced in the next few months. How can you be availing this opportunities in our project through our websites and through our project partner entities like TESDA, DNR. Now we are partnered with the BOI and then with the Department of Energy, DTI. So we are far-reaching out in the Philippines.
Thank you. We're looking forward. Now, Stephen, I think you have actually raised some questions from our audience. Do we actually need to call them sausage, giniling, hot dog when they are not? I wonder if we need to regulate these terms, and what is the opinion of WTH on this? For example, EU is now thinking of banning the term milk for oat milks. So Stephen, can you call them something else, or are you addressing a transitioning market?
Yes, I like very good point in that actually. So we're also waiting regulations in Asia, Southeast Asia, how they will play out. But I think we want sustainability to be accessible, and alternative protein is in that area where it's still new and we want it to be accessible and approachable, but we don't mean to deceive. So, but we want our products to be understood and easily used and convenient. So what I advocate is putting like a big word, plant-based or vegan in beside the as description for the sausage or for the giniling or for the
that's right, because there is no word yet for a plant-based sausage because all the sausage we know is meat-based, no? So you'll have to teach. So a lot of you, I mean, if not all of you, are actually in the process of teaching people. For example, Miss Lani is teaching them what is organic, what is hybrid, what is GMO, and Mr. Koki is and Mr. Kawabata are teaching us what is the loop and how many times recycled. How many times you can recycle the $3 can versus the 10-cent carton, no? So a lot of education is needed, and then cold chain for Miss Gilda, and for Stephen, of course, educating them until we find a new word for plant-based sausage. Okay, so there are other questions here that they say that, is there a way for organic process from crops and foods to be implemented soon so that we can reduce importation of medicine? Well, I don't quite understand the question right there. So maybe you can give your views. Let's start again with Mr. Koki. Somebody is asking on the loop that they want to know if it can be incorporated in e-commerce, where most groceries are being purchased now, accelerated by the pandemic. How do you propose to do that with online shopping?
Thank you. Thank you. So we're functioning in 5 countries at the moment. Apart from Japan, all the countries actually started from the online shopping. So it's very similar to like Amazon, I believe. So people purchase our products through Loop platform, started from online. But we are actually shifting to the retailer basis as well, since many people in the country, especially in Japan and other countries, they are purchasing also from the retailers. However, if there's a demand in the countries that online basis is more active, then we'll definitely have an opportunity to start from the online shopping as well. Yeah.
Okay. So for Engineer Garibay, for Engineer Gilda, what are the biggest sources of waste when it comes to the cold food chain? What are the biggest problems in general? Are these two items related in any way? Meaning, I guess what you're trying to address, no? And you can probably mention also the refrigerant. Yes, Engineer Hilda.
In the Philippines, substantial post-harvest losses is up to 50% was recorded from the initial harvesting, grading, packaging, and transportation from field to storage and distribution to consumers. In the fisheries sector, this estimated total loss of 25 to 30% of catch due to improper handling. It must the next question is that related? It must be noted that a critical factor in maintaining food quality throughout the cold chain is the continuity of efficient cold chain practices from the farm or sea all the way to the market. Any break in this cold chain system due to transport, infrastructure constraint, or even just absence of pre-cooling facilities around farms or the absence of lack of cold storages in public markets will drastically decrease food quality and increase food losses as food moves down the supply chain. So there is a direct link between food losses and cold chain.
Yes, Engineer. And I also want to bring up, I know we have a few minutes left, but okay, it gets to the market, but in the market, it is also not stored properly.
Yes.
So that will eventually add, we only have 50% left, and with improper handling in the retail market, and I see all of you nodding, is that we eventually either sell spoiled food or half of that will also go to waste, correct? So we might end up with just 25%. And who pays for this? I think the consumer ends up paying for it, right?
Yeah, and of course the farmers. I mean, along the way, the farmers are losing the money. Yeah, both consumers and our farmers.
And because they're losing money, they will not go organic because it's they need the pesticides and the right. Isn't it all related?
Or yeah, it's all related. Yeah.
Because there is food waste, they will not go to Miss Limpin because they will no longer be organic because they had sprayed pesticides that will keep it longer, and so people will end up buying the plant-based food of Steven instead of plants. Is that how it's going to go? Maybe I should ask Mr. Koki because he's the independent one that is not part of your chain. Mr. Koki, what do you think? Should we all convert to organic or buy local or what?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how to answer the question, but yeah, organic is very healthy, and I love them. And I grew up in New Zealand, and there's many of the foods are organic. So if there's a chance to switch to organic, then I'd love to. Japan's kind of shifting. I mean, slowly shifting to those movements as well. So good to see in other countries that have the opportunities there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So I know that all of your specialties are interrelated, and there are more questions here for Mr. Koki before I do my closing opinion. It's actually my opinion gathering all of your thoughts. Mr. Koki, does Loop accept packaging that is not recyclable? If yes, how does Loop process or use them?
Thank you. So to answer this question, we only accept the recyclable packages. So for the plastics, we only accept the certain type of plastic that's really easy to recycle. And as you may know, the glasses and the stainless steels, those are very easy to recycle. You can recycle back to the glasses, stainless steels, you can melt it and back to the stainless steel. So we only accept the materials that can be recyclable and back to the same packages. Yeah.
And I think, Mr. Koki, you will have to sponsor a lot of seminars on sorting waste because you'll never get your recyclable if people do not sort their waste. It's another problem. Okay, but I like all your specialties. Miss Lani, there's another question here. Does organic certification guarantee that products were produced sustainably?
It's a yes, because if you are into organic farming or organic agriculture, most of the inputs that you will use will be coming from in the inside of the farm. No? It's very seldom that you buy supplemental substances that may not be available in the farm. For example, micronutrients in the soil. These are very few, but the rest of the requirements that you need to produce and manage and harvest a particular crop or commodity can be done inside the farm.
Okay, so it's highly sustainable. So
Yes.
Steven, since you are plant-based, are you using organic produce? I mean, organically grown, not organic certified, but
Yeah.
if I'm
We-
putting you in a spot, will it make a difference? Because you're a bioscience, biotech genius. What do you think about using organic versus it's not organic in your products?
we're waiting on, well, of course, at this moment, we want to go scale, and I'm still I'm hoping that organic will be up to scale very soon to produce our ingredients. Of course, we try to use non-GMO for our soy protein or wheat protein, but to ensure that everything is organic, it will be a bit expensive and a bit inaccessible for our mission of making plant-based mainstream in the Philippines. So yeah, but I think with technology, organic farming, organic agriculture is becoming as efficient and accessible compared to conventional farming, and I do think it's also for the future.
Because I think the organic vegetable is actually not expensive. What causes the rise in price is because of the 50% food waste as discussed by Engineer Gilda. So your 10 pesos becomes 20 pesos because you are losing half of it. And so eventually maybe organically grown produce will not really be that expensive as compared to the pure organic certified and organically grown. I think we will get to that at some point. Now, there's another question, a lot of interest in organic. Are there international organizations that can certify our products without going through OCPP? But that's a question for you, huh, Ms. Lani?
Yes, there are. Actually, for local certification, just go to the DA website. You can find there who are the accredited certifying bodies. And then also for the international certification, there are lots of certifying bodies inside the country, but OCCP is also catering for international certification. So yeah.
There you go.
Just go through us.
If I may add, Ms. Lani, I think it depends on the recipient. If you're going to export, the recipient dictates what certification or what certificate or seal they accept. Like Japan will be JAS, US will be USDA. And so OCCP is certified for the Philippines and also for some countries abroad, Ms. Lani?
Yes, for Southeast Asia actually, because we are also doing a one-stop thingy with the other certifying bodies in Southeast Asia. But what I wanted to share is that OCCP is also catering for the EU market, for the NOP, for the USDA, US market, Canada, and also Japan. We do the inspection for them for JAS. And then for USDA NOP, because we have a partner, and it's the partner who's the one.
Have you seen a constant rise in the need for organic certification?
Lately, yes. In the past 3 years, there's a constant rise. Medyo, it's a little bit slow, no? But we are getting there. People are getting more conscious about their health. People are getting more conscious about the environment, and people are getting more conscious on what they eat, what they take inside the body. So it's no longer a question of how much am I going to spend, but it is what will the food do inside my body, inside the body of my children, my husband, my wife, my grandfather, parents, and so on and so forth.
Okay, and we have now I guess this will be the final question for all, although I don't know if this will apply to Steven. Sachet or tingi packaging? Koki, wakarimasu ka, sachet. Okay, is the biggest contributor of waste in Southeast Asia. How do we incorporate this problem in the circular economy?
Yes, thank you. So as Ms. Chit just pointed out at the beginning, all the packages complex materials being made by complex materials. However, if those can be manufactured, created by the monomaterial, it can be easier to recycle. However, right now, those sachet pouches are not designed to be recycled, right? Those are designed to be disposal. So in order to make it recyclable, as I pointed out earlier, first thing it is very important is change to monomaterial. So after consumer use eat the food content, all the content being used, and then take back to the somewhere food where can recycle, then those recycling companies can be recycle those packages and maybe back to the same material or maybe something else. So again, yeah, monomaterial is the key.
So it's good that you're telling us that plastic is not that evil if it is a monomaterial, meaning there are different kinds of plastics, PE, PP, etc. But if it's the same kind of material, so it's a challenge for our FMCG manufacturers to take that challenge to convert to monomaterial and then get in touch with TerraLoop. Okay, and then maybe as a wrap up, we'd like to tell our audience that one, they must learn more about organic because it's not necessarily expensive. It depends on where your food comes from. And actually, Miss Gilda, Engineer Gilda, has given us the answer that part of the cost of food is actually the food that is wasted. Okay, so and since you are thinking of organic, you may as well also help the environment by eating plant-based foods, giving it a try, whether in sausage, hot dog, or what have you, but look for plant-based. To give a break to Mr. Steven to show us how to be healthier by avoiding all those red diseases in his chart. Okay, so I hope that we have sort of summarized the beauty of the panel that we were put together in. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. And we hope to see you in more panels because we need to educate the people. Thank you very much and good afternoon.